Hi, I'm Karan Thapar. Over the last few years, I hope you've been watching my program, The Interview on the Wire. During that period, I've interviewed doctors, politicians, businessmen, scientists, authors, and even the occasional Nobel laureate. For me, it's been exciting. I hope it's been enjoyable for you. But these, as you know, are tough times, and if this program is going to remain bold, independent, and sometimes even defiant, then I think we need your support. At the end of the day, it's a truism, but editorial independence is best defended by the viewers. So if you would like this program to remain the way it is, forthright, outspoken, and interesting, then would you consider supporting us? All you have to do is to click on the description at the bottom. But more than anything else, I hope you will continue to watch the interview. Your viewership means an awful lot to me. Hello and welcome to a special interview for The Wire. 3 days from today, on Thursday the 5th, elections will be held in Nepal to choose a new government. This follows the widespread student protests that brought the KP Sharma Oli government down in September last year. What sort of elections are these likely to be? What are the issues dominating the people's mind? And do we have any sense of how the parties and prime ministerial contenders could fare? Those are the issues that I shall raise with the well-known and highly respected editor of DeshSanchar.com, Yubaraj Ghimire. Yubaraj Ghimire, Nepal will go to the polls on the 5th of March to elect a new government after the Oli administration fell in September last year. How is this election viewed by the Nepali people? Is there a lot of excitement in the air?
Not much excitement because this election was not anticipated, and the protest by the Gen Z group against corruption was not meant for election. But the Oli government was forced to resign, and then the easy solution the political parties decided to go for was elections 2 years ahead of the scheduled elections. So there's not much excitement, but people will be participating in the elections. There are new parties coming up.
I'll come to the new parties in a moment's time. News reports in India suggest that jobs and the economy are the key issues, particularly for young Nepalis. Would you agree?
Well, yeah, in principle, theoretically, yes, because large number of Nepalese youth, go abroad, especially the Gulf countries, which is now in a war zone. They do go there. This will be a much aggravated problem now. But every government, every political party in their manifesto give priority to, generating employment. But this is one issue they have miserably failed always. Although elections have almost always taken place on time.
If I recall the manifestos of the parties correctly, some have promised to make Nepal a $1 trillion economy in 10 years' time. Others have promised to create 1 million jobs. How credible are those promises?
That is the problem because, there is total absence. One major issue of Nepali politics is absence of accountability and discredited political parties. They make promises, don't fulfill it, and they don't respond to people's anger on where they failed.
Let's talk a little about the main political parties. There seem to be 3 main parties, if I've understood correctly. There's KP Sharma Oli's Communist Party of Nepal, there's Karan Thapar's Nepali Congress, and there's Balendra Shah's Rashtriya Swatantra Party. In your eyes, which of the 3 parties has the wind in their sails? Which is the front runner?
Well, it seems like RSP, they have regrouped. Although RSP was there, it was 4th largest party in the dissolved parliament. It seems that they have succeeded in kind of getting closer to the people and trying to exploit the failure of the government that Nepali Congress and UML were part of in the coalition government, which failed because of the Gen Z protest. So they are trying their effort, but Nepali Congress and UML, despite their unpopularity, they have their presence all over the country, which RSP doesn't have.
Let's talk a little about Balendra Shah, the leader of the Rashtriya Swatantra Party. He's a former rapper, he's a former mayor of Kathmandu. And according to newspaper reports, he's said to be amongst the front runners to become your new prime minister. What can you tell me about Balendra Shah?
Well, he's a very kind of new phenomena in Nepal's politics. Someone born in like Tarai area. He came to Kathmandu. His parents came to Kathmandu. He was a rapper, an engineer by profession, structural engineer. He jumped into politics, and at 33, he won Kathmandu's mayoral elections, defeating two very prominent figures, one from the Nepali Congress and another from UML. And he was rated as a doer. He cleaned Kathmandu city and all that, although there were certain controversies. The other thing unique about him is he's not much exposed because he doesn't speak too much. So people really didn't understand what his political ideology was. He joined RSP very recently after there was a deal that he would be projected as the prime minister candidate if RSP wins. So still, he is among few politicians, or perhaps the only politician of that stature who hasn't spoken much. So we really don't know, apart from RSP manifesto, we really don't know what he stands for.
So he remains a vacuum for many people. People read into him whatever they want to believe about him.
Yes, he's that character, true.
But how would you estimate his popularity? How large is it? Is he the front runner to be prime minister?
Well, he is certainly, if he contests from Jhapa 5 constituency where he is pitted against KP Oli. If he defeats KP Oli, then his chances are, and if his party gets majority, his chances are there. Nepali Congress also has a young chairman, Karan Thapar, 50 now, who replaced Sherbahadur Deuba, was 80. So there is now kind of some fresh enthusiasm in the Nepali Congress. But yes, this time Nepal will see a competition among youth, age group people to who will be the next prime minister.
Let's come to KP Sharma Oli. After all, it was his government that was toppled by the student protests in September. But he's competing once again for the top job. So let me ask you, how credible is his candidature, or is he colored and tainted by the fact that it was his government that was overthrown in September?
Yes, Oli is contesting. I think there was pressure on him from his from his own party to retire from public life, but he organized party elections and he won the party leadership again. One, two, this time. Oli, there is no record about Oli having spent more than 2 days in his constituency, but this time he's been holed up there only, unable to campaign in other places for his party candidates. So maybe for him, his victory, his individual victory has become very life and death question in his politics at 74.
Is he holed up in his constituency because he's being challenged by Balendra Shah? And does that indicate that Balendra Shah could have a good chance of defeating KP Sharma Oli?
Yeah, both. One, his declining popularity, and his arrogance, in the sense that his arrogance that he didn't even apologize his for so many loss of life, death of 77 people in the protest. He didn't take any accountability for that, so he is paying the price for that. But he he has been saying the message that he's been giving is almost indispensable for the country, and these people who are quite novice in politics, they wouldn't succeed in displacing him.
Has KP Sharma Oli and has his Communist Party of Nepal been forgiven for the government that was the cause of the revolt in September? Have they been forgiven? Has that been forgotten?
No, no, unfortunately, this Nepal's politics is not about like success and failure, forgiveness. This is non-issue in Nepal's politics. Parties gang up. It has almost been hung parliament. Parties gang up. They decide who will be the prime minister for how many months, who after him, and then they don't agree. They don't come out with any common minimum programs. That's the tragedy of Nepal politics. So these issues are not debated. Media has raised these issues, but Oli or his party, they haven't taken this event seriously. They have not even debated and discussed. They haven't tried to fix any accountability for that. And the government, Sushila Karki, who is the prime minister now, she formed an inquiry commission saying the reports of what happened then will be published within a month's time. It's been 4 months plus, and they haven't, they haven't published this report. Now we were told that this report will come out after the election. So she doesn't want to get into this controversy also.
Tell me, how much fresh life, how much enthusiasm, how much energy has Gagan Thapa infused into the Nepali Congress? I've heard reports that the Nepali Congress remains the third out of the three parties. Would you agree?
Well, what I think based on reports from the field is RSP and Nepali Congress are the competitors at the moment. There'll be UML. There is a Rashtriya Prajatantra Party also, pro-monarchy party, because there is a proportional representation. It's a mixed electoral system. There's a proportional side also. Many people seem to be wanting monarchy back, so they might be voting that party also. There is also speculation, but I'd say RSP and Nepali Congress are the competitors.
How strong is the pro-monarchy sentiment? And will it make a big impact on the outcome of the elections?
It may not, because there is a very strong sentiment in favor of the monarchy, but people don't accept RPP as the sole, it's a huge constituency. I mean, huge populace that was monarchy back, that believes monarchy is the factor of stability in Nepal, factor of unity, but they don't accept RPP as the sole, instrument to bring the monarchy back.
So there is a sentiment in favor of the monarchy, but the RPP, the party that stands for it, is not considered to be the right vehicle for the purpose.
Yes, I mean, they want, monarchy has got sympathy for different reasons. But RPP also joined this, RPP's two leaders had joined this government under the new constitution, which the followers of the monarchy don't accept. So the blame on the RPP is that they also do make compromises for power. They are not a principal party in favor of the monarchy.
What about former Prime Minister Prachanda? He's not considered a credible contender for the prime ministership, but is he active in the electoral process?
He is, but he's not an exception. If he's not, if his credibility has dipped, he's not the exception, unfortunately, in Nepal's politics. He may personally win, but his party would be, losing its previous strength also. He is contesting from Rukum 5, which is strong, that is the area where Maoist insurgency originated from. So that, he will win that constituency, but his party will not fare.
If I understand your analysis of the prospects correctly, you're suggesting that this election is primarily a fight between the Nepali Congress under Gagan Thapa and the Rashtriya Swatantra Party under Barendra Shah. Have I understood that correctly?
That is correct. But in RSP, there is another factor because RSP chairman is Ravi Lamisani, very strong personality with the hold over the party. And Balan Shah, they co-opted very recently, given his popularity. They said he will be our prime ministerial candidate if the party wins. But I have my doubts for how long these two strong personalities will be together.
The two strong personalities being Balendra Shah and the gentleman you just mentioned.
Ravi Lamisani. And also, although it's a competition between Nepali Congress and RSP mainly, I don't think this would be any single party will get majority. It could be a hung parliament, it could be a fractured mandate, which has been the case with Nepal for the past almost 3 decades, with one exception.
Now, whoever becomes prime minister will be Nepal's 16th in less than 2 decades since the monarchy was abolished in 2008. Why are Nepalese prime ministers so short-lived?
One, because Nepal's political parties and governments, successive governments, you said 16 governments, they don't go by the established process and traditions in democracy. They are not accountable to parliament. Parliament has become a rubber stamp under the executive. So that makes individuals very powerful. These two or three individuals, they make compromises to suit their interests. I'll give you examples. After 2006, three people, Prachanda, three parties, Maoist, UML and Nepali Congress, they only, led the government one after another as part of the deal. And only these parties have been ruling the country. So, they are above the government is ruling party, and ruling party is controlled totally by the individuals, who is the prime minister or whoever, because there is total absence of inner party democracy. There is total absence of system of accountability. That makes individuals very powerful.
Now, I believe on Thursday, 19 million Nepalis out of a population of 30 million will be eligible to vote, and they'll be voting for the 275-member House of Representatives. They will choose 165 seats through a direct contest and the remaining 110 by proportional representation. Is this hybrid system one of the reasons why Nepali governments are not particularly stable? Very few actually have an outright majority.
Well, this hybrid system was introduced in 2010. The first election for which was held in 2012. Right? So, but even before that, there was unstable government. So, I stand corrected. New constitution was promulgated in 2015. So, it's 10 years before. But we are taking into account the government after 2006. So same instability. Instability is their refusal to be guided by common minimum programs and system accountability. They are primarily wanting power, so they make deal. 2 or 3 leaders make the deal. Party just endorses it. Parliament is rubber stamp. So total erosion of the state and institutional collapse is the main reason for why individual supremacy prevails. And this government will continue till their interest is served.
Do you expect that will be the outcome of this election as well? An unstable government that won't last for very long?
Yes, that's what I think. Only thing is, the party which was number 1 yesterday or number 2 yesterday, maybe number 3, number 4, but instability will continue. It will be a hung parliament, I think.
How do people look at that prospect? They're going through an election, but they already fear and sense that the outcome will be an unstable government that won't last for long. How do people view that prospect?
Well, normally, people do come to the street, not very. They have been party to the changes, radical changes in 2006. They feel betrayed, but what they say, wherever we go, they say that, okay, ek chance inko bhi denge. That kind of sentiment, let us try them also. but it's not going to serve the purpose.
But you're saying to me that the people of Nepal believe and expect that the outcome of this election will be yet another unstable government that won't
yes,
last for long.
yes.
Okay, before we end, let's talk briefly about the outgoing interim government led by former Chief Justice Sushila Karki. It's been in power for just under 6 months. How is it performed, and how much credit does it get for holding elections on time as scheduled?
Well, that has been the only concern, that because they said they will hold government in 6 months, which was not at all a reasonable and practical time for a inexperienced party leaders, prime minister, to be to be promising elections in 6 months, which he's going to do at any cost. So the what is when the time factor has become important. I have to hold elections on March 5, so I'll that. But there are two other issues. One was, he said, I'll be heading a neutral government with ministers not affiliated to any political party, so that elections will be credible and fair. Third was, she will start actions against corrupt and corruptions, like hold this inquiry into government repression and all that. On those counts, she's utterly failed, and she has made very dangerous compromises, including withdrawing cases on money laundering against Ravi Lamisane, who is one of the chairmen. That is the compromise she made, which was not expected of her, because she came to power. She was chosen, basically, much despite the fact that Constitution expressly forbade a former Chief Justice becoming a Prime Minister, holding any political position, despite the fact that no outsider can be the Prime Minister, no non-parliamentarian can be the Prime Minister. She was chosen, hoping that like she will take strong measures against corrupt and corruption. She made these compromises, so people are feeling betrayed.
There were high hopes and great expectations of her when she was sworn in as interim prime minister in September. You're saying she's let people down. She's been a failure.
Yes.
You would use the word failure.
Failure. I use the word failure, and all not a she was not expected to take major decisions, but these are the things she had promised to the people. I'll do this and hold election in time. She is holding the election in time, but on other counts, she has betrayed people.
She's betrayed people with regard to tackling corruption. She's
Yes,
waived charges against people like Lavi Ramisani.
yes,
And even the report into the KP Oli Sharma government, which was promised within a
repression.
month, has been withheld and not made public.
Right.
So, on multiple counts, she's let the people down.
Yes, she's in a way, in Nepal's context, she's become yet another pragmatic politician.
So, even though people believe that the new government that will be sworn in after the results are out will be unstable and will not last for very long, nonetheless, people will, I presume, be happy to see the back of Sushila Karki.
Yes.
Finally, Yubaraj Ghimire, when can we expect the results, and when do you expect the new government to take over?
Well, it is a time-taking process, because this PR component of the election, that takes longer time. Parties have submitted their like closed list of the people who will be in parliament, and depending how much votes and how much in terms of number of seats in parliament will that be translated. It takes longer. It may take a month.
A
It take a
month.
month. Yeah.
So we
It's a
may
very,
not know the outcome of the elections for another month.
it looks like you get to know the first past the post system. The outcome of the first past the post system will know, but that PR system is a tedious process. It has taken a month, more than a month in the past.
Which means that the new government will not take over till sometime in April.
It looks like, or end of March.
Okay. Thank you very much indeed. I thank you for the time you've given me. I thank you for sharing your analysis of the developing election in Nepal. Take care. Stay safe.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Karan Thapar. Over the last few years, I hope you've been watching my program, The Interview on the Wire. During that period, I've interviewed doctors, politicians, businessmen, scientists, authors, and even the occasional Nobel laureate. For me, it's been exciting. I hope it's been enjoyable for you. But these, as you know, are tough times, and if this program is going to remain bold, independent, and sometimes even defiant, then I think we need your support. At the end of the day, it's a truism, but editorial independence is best defended by the viewers. So if you would like this program to remain the way it is, forthright, outspoken, and interesting, then would you consider supporting us? All you have to do is to click on the description at the bottom. But more than anything else, I hope you will continue to watch the interview. Your viewership means an awful lot to me.